experience, luck in Santa Barbara Harbor or up there on the breakwall? Gil, we'll start with you.
I personally have never hooped that far on the Will has, so I can't speak for it. I've done like San Pedro area, I've done Seal Beach area, Dana Point, Newport, San Diego, but I haven't gone past that.
Yeah, I wish I could help you, but I don't have the answer to that one.
I get reports all the time that it's good up there. Exactly where, whether it's on the breakwall or whatever, but those guys up in Ventura and up there in Santa Barbara, I know. I don't know how far north spiny lobsters are caught. I mean, are they caught in Alaska?
I don't.
Somebody just caught one recently in San Francisco by the Golden Gate Bridge.
Brian, somebody caught one by the Golden Gate Bridge. Or that is a very interesting question out there, everybody. And if you can answer it and provide us with the answer, you'll get absolutely nothing. But we would love to know. So try that out.
ChatGPT.
There you go. I know somebody's already all over that right now. Let's see. Wong, is it? How do we get in the raffle? You're already in, my friend. All you have to do is ask a question. Current Jam. What do you do when divers start getting close to your nets and start shining lights into them? It seems to be a thing nowadays. Yeah, what do? Do you confront them? Obviously, you can't confront them.
We kind of went over this question
at
the beginning about etiquette.
Yes.
And I think that's a thing where you just go up to that boat and just kindly ask them, like, hey, I noticed you're kind of mad my nets and just want to make sure we're working together on the water. And I don't think it's a time to like swear and make a big scene, but just let them know, hey, I observed that your lights are in the midst of my hoop nets. Can we work together to where that's not happening? And hopefully they work with you.
Yeah. What do you think? You got to be courteous.
Pretty much all I could do, especially, running a charter. We don't want to get into any altercations on the water and things like that. When it happened to me a couple weeks ago,
You got into an altercation?
Yeah.
Can you do me a favor? I'm concerned about you, but videotape that and send it to me. Okay. I can turn that into 1 million views.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
But no, I definitely I cruised over to them. There was 2 guys, so no one was on the boat. Both guys were in the water. And I just, kept some distance, right, for the boat and whatnot. But I was like, hey guys, what's going on? Like, I was here, way before you. There's so much time or so much space on the island. Like, why do you got to be right here? And they wanted to kind of argue a little bit. I just decided to drive off and let it be.
Probably the best thing, right? It's kind of like cops nowadays. They're trained to de-escalate things, and that's probably good advice no matter where you are, because you never know. You could have some nut that, who knows? They could get carried away. Exactly. Speaking of nuts, Brian has another question.
I have one.
That took you a while to catch that.
For myself,
yeah.
Somebody recently told me that the current plays a big factor into it, because when the current's ripping, or if the current's moving faster than, I think they said like 1 point something knots. They were very specific. There's a lot of debris that gets pushed through the bottom of the ocean, so the lobsters tend to not want to fall. So it's actually better to go when there's less current, less tidal movement, than when there's a lot of tidal. Is that accurate, or is that not accurate?
So Brian's question is, better to go lobster hooping when there is a lot of current or a little current? Who did I ask last? I forget. Gil, go ahead. Start.
I'm a current. The more the merrier.
Okay.
I mean, and I've never seen and I hoop pretty close to break walls and kelp, and I've never seen like anything crazy as far as garbage or anything like that. And I've noticed that on the bigger tide swings that I do a lot better. When I say a lot better, I mean just movement of lobster, whether that's tons of short lobsters or legal lobsters. I've never had a problem myself.
Currently, I mean, when you're fishing, I know from the fishing perspective, you don't have current, you're not getting bit.
Exactly.
Is it the same?
We always want current, and especially like hooping the west end of Catalina, there's so much current on that end of the island, and it's usually always over 1. So 1 point, whatever that number was, I haven't seen that to be detrimental to me at all.
Okay.
Good luck on ending this show at 6:30. I think there's another 25 comments already and questions. We're going to keep it going here. Darren is joining us right now, and he says hello, and he is currently inside the harbor right now. So he wants to know, man, I'm driving inside the harbor. Where is hooping legal? Is it legal throughout the harbor or what? Start with you.
Okay, so there's definitely spots that are not legal to hoop in the harbor. It's hard to, point that out right now, but if you have things like your Navionics app, there are some also some book charts that you could buy, or just go onto the DFG website, and they have some spots there that point out where you cannot hoop.
Yeah, I think the hardest part about Will and I, when we come on shows like this, or we're big seminar speakers,
Yeah.
is that we don't want to represent the law. Like, it's like the regulations are for the angler to know, and we can give people pointers and stuff, but I think it's most importantly for that person that's hooping to know the regulations before they go out. And so this is where we talk, Will and I in our seminars, we talk about a game plan. And I think it's important to have a game plan to know before you get on the water, like, what is legal to hoop? What is not legal to hoop? Do your homework so that you're having the best night of your life on the harbor, and you're not second guessing yourself when it comes to measuring lobster, where it comes to regulations, where it comes to closures, that before you go out into the water, prior to that day, all your homework is done. And that's the best advice that we can give people.
Yeah, I think so. And regs change, right? So you need to stay abreast of what is legal, what's not illegal. Make sure you've got, your lobster report cards, all that. We may be able to get into that. However, we got so many questions. Go ahead.
If you're online, I mean, after you finish watching this show, of course, but I would say, take a minute before you drop your hoops and look it up so that you know that you're in a good spot and won't get in any trouble.
All right. Hey, once again, we thank you so much. Hit that like button. Make sure you go to the PromarAhi.com website, put in FA at checkout, and you'll save 15 big percentage dollars off your order. And Darren says, Brian, big Promar order coming up here really soon. Lisa wants to know what's your favorite lobster recipe. How do you like to eat langosta?
I love to grill it. I'll butterfly it open and right on the grill, shell side down, some butter and whatever seasoning you like. I like a little paprika. Yeah, that's my favorite. I love it grilled.
What do you say?
So last night's funny you made this question pops up. I'm like Will, I'm a grill guy. But my kids, they I don't know what it is with shells. They're just like, my kids are older too, by the way. They still have that. But the shell in itself is like really presentable, but they're just like trying to finger through it. And so I've been pulling it out. And so last night I like soaked it with like a stick and a half of butter in a pan. So they pull it out of the shell with some Boston seasoning, and some little light pepper, little paprika, and just kind of turn it over, like I'm frying an egg. Oh man, it was so delicious.
Man, that sounds so good.
It's on my Instagram, and I go look at it. It drooled the whole time.
Brian wanted to kill me when I said I microwave them sometimes.
Oh,
You wanted to
microwave the
The
legs.
eggs, like,
Yeah. Are they good that way?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, really?
And if you just do one at a time, the meat pops right out.
Ooh.
But the
Man.
bug, yeah.
Yes,
So
sir,
we're
Brian.
also live on the Your Saltwater Guide thing. So somebody asked, where are they submitting questions? I just want to let them know they can submit questions
Yeah.
there, and I will read it out.
All right, excellent. That's our buddy Dave Hansen on our Saltwater Guide. So happy to have his great audience here with us tonight. All right,
Another question.
go ahead, Brian.
Daniel Brose 93. What advice do you have to find a better spot? I've used Navionics and Side View to find structure with little success. How many sets would you stick out at a spot until you try a different area?
All right, so Brian wants to know, how do I find another spot? Man, I've been dropping on this same spot. It's not productive. I want to find a better spot. Gil, what does he do?
Well, I think there's a lot to this, and there's a lot of trial and error when it comes to lobster hooping. I know Dave has great resources on his page as far as your saltwater guide, as far as where to go and where to place, and he does great for the community as far as getting people out there and getting them structured spots. Being a traditional bass guy, like I said, I'm just always trial and error. I always like try to find my own stuff. I do find out that like the honey hole is everybody else's honey hole, and I'm always trying to kind of get away from that game. Unfortunately, the blessing behind this is that the more homework you do for this gentleman right now, sooner or later, he's going to come across his spot, and that's going to be his spot, right? Not everybody else's spot. It's going to be his personal spot. And you do the homework, you get rewarded. It's just like with anything. So it's a lot of trial and error. I mean, Will and I can tell you stories. I've been doing this for 15 plus years, lobster hooping. And it's like, there's days where I went out and didn't pull up a thing, and then I just keep moving down the line, and trying to, and then finally I find the honey hole, right? And now these are spots I guide on, and so that's for my person.
Yeah. We talked a little bit earlier about relief shading on the Navionics, so I don't know if you have that, but I would definitely pay
Explain
for
to
it.
everybody what that is exactly.
So when you look at a navigational chart, you just see you can see contour lines, but essentially it's very basic. It's a white map and a couple contour lines. The relief shading adds different colors that show you the depth, that show you is it hard bottom, is it not, and it kind of tells you exactly where the structure is. So it's no guessing, and you use that along with your depth finder, and it kind of takes the guessing out of where you're going to drop your hoops. So that's definitely a tool. And as Gil was saying, explore, especially if you got 10 hoops, if you're on a boat, maybe you drop 8 in the spot and you maybe drop 2 in different places and explore. Before I was chartering and I was doing a lot of recreational hooping, I did a ton of that. I would always drop someone in a hoop in a new place and just see what happened.
Yeah, and I think having a GPS on your kayak, on your boat, and just making notations on your kayak or your boat, on your fish finder, depth finder, and just saying like, great spot, not good spot. Lobster hooping is a documentation game. It's all about numbers. It's all about documenting. That's why a lot of us number our floats, because each float tells a story, when it's in the water. And so if all your floats look the same, you're not gonna know what float did better than the other float. So you can actually document number 1, have lobster in it, number 2. But if all your buoys look the same, it's like you're kind of getting the same advice, the same research from everything. So.
And another quick thing on that too, what's happening in the water around you? So maybe it's not the spot, but maybe it's just slack tide right now, and there's no water movement. I've had many times on charters where I tell clients, hey, this set probably won't be that good, but the next set I know is going to hit. And they're like, oh, wow, you really know this.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, well, there's no water movement right now. So.
All right, yes, Brian, another question.
Sorry, yeah.
No problem.
So Jim Wilson 1137 says, "Are you better on boat or on a beach? And does the moon cycle affect the crawl?" Says Mahood 77.
Jim Wilson wants to know, are you better to be on a boat or
on
can you go out on a pier or go out on the break wall? And what's the moon phase effect on that?
So we talked a little bit about the moon phase earlier, where especially if you're close to land, there's already so much light coming from land that it's not a huge effect. And then, yeah, being on a boat, being on a kayak, it just gives you so much opportunity to explore different places. If you're on land, you can only go so far. So, yeah, that's kind of that.
Yeah, you can hoop a pier. You're limited to 2 nets on a pier. Will was saying the more nets you have on a boat, if you go with 2 guys, the maximum nets you have is 10. Kayak by yourself on a boat, you get 5. And so I agree with Will. It's like getting that deeper water. I mean, when I say deeper water, anything 30 feet and above, kind of try to get a shot at these things.
All right, Daniel Salazar points out there's a problem sometimes with guys shining super bright lights on other boats. So I guess that goes into the courtesy thing again, right?
Yeah, and I think, again, when it comes to lobster hooping, there's like, Will and I have been doing this for a while, and you kind of get a lot of these questions that are like recycled questions, they kind of just come back, they're just phrased differently. It's all down to courtesy, and a lot of times you think, is that person really shining a light at me, or are they just trying to find their buoy? And it's just, I'm on the other side of the buoy, And I think a lot of times we don't think that way because we don't think like the other way around. Like, well, maybe he's looking for something. We always think like, he's shining that light in my eyes on purpose because he wants to jump on my boat and fight me because he knows I have more lobster. And it's just that competitive nature of the sport.
Absolutely. Bow line sport fishing. Best advice is to go and have fun. Man, that's the best advice on any sport fishing trip, right? Because you put too much emphasis on, I'm only going to have fun if I make a catch. You're going to have so many bad trips in your life that it's unbelievable. However, if you say to yourself, I'm just going to go out there and have a really good time, enjoy the outdoors, away from the phone, away from all the crap,
100%.
You're going to have every single trip's going to be a good one.
I think what you have when it comes to any type of fishing, you have like this OCD fishing. right? And they're just like, they gotta know like the exact water movement. They gotta have the right bait, the portion. They have to have it all. The moon has to be right, and and you hit it right on the head. It's just like, let's just have fun. Like, let's just go put the phone away. Let's have fun. Let's get some bugs. Let's make a night of it, and let's have a blast.
All right, perfect. Robert Graver says, good afternoon, Phil, Will, Gil, and the Friedman Adventures family fanatics. What a great Lobster Chronicles special show. Robert, thanks for joining us. Lisa says, make sure everyone has their own lobster gauge for an extra for backup. That's something you got to have, right? Lobster gauges for everybody.
I run a 6-pack, but I keep 10 gauges on me anytime. One gets dropped in the water, or someone sticks one in their pocket, goes home with it. Always need extras.
Yep.
All right, Aaron says, make sure to use mango kern juice, everyone. Maybe when making your ceviche or something, huh? Sounds pretty good to me. Bow line fishing outdoors. Some better advice, don't use any additive scents like lobster attractant. It's a gimmick. Just use fresh fin bait. Any comment there, boys?
Yeah, I say there's a million ways to skin a cat, right? And some people like it, some people don't. Gil and I both like to use Byte on. There's other guys, other charters that don't. And that's perfectly fine. But yeah, to each their own, what works for you. And yeah, go.
Isaac says, how long do you let the pots soak? Gil, start with you.
I like to do 20-minute soaks, 25-minute soaks, depending on the tide. And if it's a little slower tide or they're not falling as much, I'll go 30 to 40 minutes. That's for me personally, but usually the crawl is pretty good, and I'm doing that 25-minute. But again, if you have your 5 poop nets out and you get your bugs at the first net, you're calling through them, you're measuring them, you're doing all your thing, you're drifting off. By the time you get to your next net, like you had another 5 minutes. By the time you get to your next net, it's another 5 minutes. So by the time you pull in number 5 or number 10, you're actually like sometimes an hour into it, And so, but I like to stick with that 25-minute, 30-minute.
Darren wants to know, is there anything like, can you soak your net too long? Is there, like, if you leave it too long, what are the adverse possibilities?
So just as easy as those lobsters crawl in, they can crawl out. So definitely don't want to soak it too long. Also, you're missing opportunity, I think, if you leave it down there 2 hours. So I would pull it, drop it right back in that spot if there's lobsters there. Or let's say they're not crawling in that area. Do you want to wait 2 hours to find that out, or do you want to find that out in an hour? So I typically start with an hour soak, and then as long as it takes me to get through my 10 hoops is how long I do each set after that.
All right, good stuff. Hey, remember, $300 worth of prizes going out. You have to be here. We're going to call your name out if you're the winner, and then you have to jump on the live chat. You have a 1-minute time period to respond and say, here I am, I won, thank you so much. You don't have to say thank you, but just say that you're here, and then you win. If you don't respond in that 1-minute time period, then we move on and draw again. All you have to do is leave a comment in the live chat, as so many of you have done already, and then you are in the drawing. Brian Sanchez with another question.
No, just gonna say,
Oh, yeah.
Let's try to fly through more questions. So maybe Gil answers one, then we'll answer.
Okay, we'll do that. Yeah, because
We have a lot.
we got a lot of people watching, and you guys are a hit, man. Let me tell you. Yeah, I'm telling you.
Well, they actually know what they're talking about.
That's
I'm
right.
on it, and I'm like,
Yeah,
oh,
me
no.
too. I go on, nobody watches.
We have people in the comment section giving us answers.
All right, yes, this is really, really great stuff, you guys. We really appreciate it. We're going to speed it up a little bit, just go back and forth with our 2 experts here tonight. So let's keep this rocking and rolling.
I have a question here. For
go
you.
ahead.
Sorry. Mahout says, do sea lions eat the lobsters? They seem to be all over our hoops in the harbor.
Do sea lions eat the lobster?
So I have seen sea lions eat the lobsters, especially when we throw shorts back. I've seen them crunch them up.
Yeah, I've seen the same thing.
All right, camera active live. Is that what it is? Hey, Phil, dropping off something for you at Island Tackle. Just got off a 3.5 day on the horizon. I hope you had a great trip. I know that bluefin bite is really good right now, and it's close to home. It sounds like it's been fantastic. Thank you so much. I'll look forward to your special gift over there at Island Fishing Tackle. I'll be there Wednesday and Thursday. Current Jam, do you guys use oils with your smash bait?
Yes, I do. I do. And like I said, to each to their own. I'm a big fan of the Byte product. And it's funny because my face is actually on the bottle of Byte now, and it hasn't always been on the bottle. So just want to make sure everyone knows that. But I've been blessed to be on the bottle now because I've been such a big fan of it for basically ever since it came out. But I'm a big fan of marinating my bait in it, soaking my bait in it, and even through the night as your bait gets ghosted, which causes some of the flavor comes out. Of course, putting the bait cage over the boat and spraying the bait cage into the water, or spraying the trap into the water. It works wonders for me. I know Will loves it as well, but it works wonders for a lot of folks out there. And like I said, again, to each to their own. Everybody has their way of doing things, and my way may not be your way, but that's what makes fishing fishing. That's the great part about fishing.
Absolutely. Tuong has a question. I'm trying to understand it. I think it is, do you have any specifications regarding your crab net, or do they have to be a certain design? And I'm assuming Promar takes care of all of that for
Yeah.
you.
If you buy a Promar hook net, Promar sets the standard for all lobster gear, and if you buy a Promar hook net, it meets all the specifications.
So there is a max amount of length, a depth that a hook net can have, and there's a max amount of width. The width is maxed out at 36 inches, and the depth, I'm not sure what it is off the top of my head, but there's a max.
All right. So, yeah, he was just giving us the dimensions, but the important thing to know is that Promar's got that covered for you. You buy a Promar net and you're good. You're legal. You're ready to rock and roll. Aaron, what do you guys think about lobster logs? Haven't had the best of luck with them.
So I have never used a lobster log. I'm actually really curious. I'm an industry guy. Like, I love talking to people about their products and their designs. I do believe when it comes to, I've been tournament fishing my whole life, and there's a lot of criticism that comes from products and stuff. But what I want to respect the lobster log is sometimes the biggest critics come from the cheapest seats in the house. And I think that a lot of people put time and effort into like something like a lobster log, and I'm not going to downplay it until like that. It might have taken that person 10 years to create that lobster, and I want to give them the credit to say, hey, how did you design it? Or let me have one to try it, you know, when it comes to scents and when it comes to lobster logs. So I personally never tried it. I would love to have a conversation with these people.
They're awesome.
Yeah. And give them a shot, you know?
That's very fair, by the way.
Yeah. And I'm glad you said that, because I know we're trying to alternate, but really quick, I have used the lobster logs, and I've pulled many limits off of the lobster logs. So they're great. You just got to know how to use them. The first time I went out and used them, I actually let them thaw out a little bit too much. And then so by like my second soak, I had no more bait because they were a little too thawed. So you want it kind of frozen when you put it in the loop, and throughout the, you put it in the bait net, and then throughout the night it will it will, what am I trying to say here?
Thaw
Thaw. Thank you.
I'm a thaw guy too.
Yeah.
So it comes to thawing all.
Brian Sanchez.
Yes, Richard Monte says, what are some ways you guys attach the floats? Do you have the extra line before or after the float? Now, I know both of you guys have your specific way of doing it.
Also, we're going to get to answer it there. You're violating your own
I am
product. How do you attach the floats? Richard Monte
So
wants
for
to
me
know.
personally, I can't have a lot of line management in my kayak because I literally would kill myself and drown. So I have everything on an extension cord winder. Now, if I know that I'm hooping certain depths, like if I'm going to be hooping strictly 30 feet, I can actually cut the 30 feet and have the line hanging out. But for me, line management is very critical because I'm in such a small space and I'm not really managing that much line. So I use a extension cord winder to kind of, and I mark my rope every 5 feet with a zip tie. So I know how much line I'm pulling out, and I can actually use it as a cleat to stop it and start it.
All right, and Will, you have a different way of doing it, right?
So I'm mostly hooping Catalina. You know, I do hoop a lot of the harbor also, but like we talked about earlier, having a game plan is so important. So before I go out, I typically know around what depth I want to hoop, and all of my ropes are set to different footages. So I have 50-foot ropes, I have 100-foot ropes, and depending on where I want to hoop, I will set up my gear with the appropriate rope, and then I put them on extension cord winders to wind up and slack it back.
I got two
Brian,
questions.
yeah, 2 questions. We have another 30 here to go. So go ahead, man.
So sorry.
Very
So
popular voice.
Richard says the winder, do you put that before the float? Like obviously it goes line, winder, then float, or are you doing line, float, winder?
Line, winder, float, or float, winder line or
So
whatever it
the
is.
first thing I can say is if you go to our research page at promarahi.com, we talk about this in a lot of our videos. But for me, it goes, I have the extension cord winder, and then at the back end of the extension cord winder, I keep like an extra 3 feet, and that's where I put my buoy on the back side of it.
And then I have Bryce Santee here who says, is it best to thaw out your frozen bait before stuffing it in the cage, or do you let it thaw out in there?
Bryce Santee wants to know, thawed out the bait or not?
Yeah.
So bad it just died.
So if it's a lobster log, then you definitely you can let it thaw out in the cage. If you're chopping up your bait, you want to thaw it out a little bit more ahead of time.
All right, there you go. Let's keep rocking and rolling here, gentlemen. We have at least, this could be a 4-hour show tonight. I'm telling you right now. Look at Gil. He's like, it better not be. You promised me. Thanks for all the great participation, the great questions. You all are making this show fantastic, along with our two great experts tonight. It really has been great. We're going to keep rocking and rolling, and that big raffle or giveaway at the very end. All right, Aaron says he's got a friend who's a marine biologist. He's done water tests in San Diego Bay, says it's the cleanest Southern California bay. It is really good. We've already kind of talked about the etiquette master, so we'll move on from that. Aaron says Promar 36XL. Master says that he was told 100 yards between pots at least. Will, 100 yards?
No, it does not have to be that. It's what works for that situation. How small of a spot are you hooping on? The spot might not be 100 yards.
Marco Farrell says, I number my buoys so I can keep track of where I am in my set. Not a big deal, but with 5, when fishing, 10 can be easy to skip a net, especially if fishing structure versus a linear break wall. So he numbers everything so he knows 1, 2,
Yeah.
3. Oh, shoot, I'm on 5. I missed one.
I've been numbering things for you. It's the way to go.
Good idea. All right. Do currents vary at different depths, 50, 100, 200? How can you determine the current at different depths? Is that a factor?
Current does vary different locations. It's kind of hard to determine it ahead of time until you get there.
Okay. That's good. Good enough to me. Aaron says, all right, 40 yards is good. According to him, Robert Graber, make sure to take a pen, Sharpie, that will write on that damn lobster card. Is that important?
Yeah, I would say not just one, but several. I would say to have a slew of pens on you because they're not always going to work.
Jolene Thompson is a great Friedman Adventures family member. Hi, guys. Is lobster fishing better during a big swell? And do you have a lobster charter for 4? Great new show. Phil, thank you, Jolene, so much. Who do I leave off with?
Oh, yeah, well,
Yes, Will.
Yeah, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, Jolene wants to know, is it better with a big swell, lobster fishing, and do you have charters for 4 people
Yes.
available?
Absolutely have charters with 4 people available. You can find me on Instagram or my website, message me there. Big swell can make it tough sometimes. We do want water movement, so we want a little swell helps sometimes, but a big swell can make it a little bit tough.
All right, very good. Jolene, it is so nice to have you with us tonight. A lot of people saying hi to Brian. Brian has a question out there. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, sorry, Bryce. My phone died when you guys were answering Bryce's question. So this was about the thawed bait or the
Oh, okay. Yeah, go ahead. One more time again.
Yeah, if you're using a lobster log, you can let that thaw in your bait cage a little bit. If you're using frozen sardine or mackerel, you want to thaw it a little bit more so you can chop it up and before you put it in your bait cage.
$300 worth of the stuff going to be given away at the end of the show. All you have to do is participate in the live chat, and then you're in. I probably should stop saying that because we're getting way more questions all the time. But that's what this is all about, man. We deeply appreciate your participation here tonight. It's what's keeping our show rocking and rolling here. Steve O'Fishing, what are some of the things guys should change if it's not happening for them that night, and why? What do you do, man? They're not crawling. You're not catching anything.
Well, definitely bait change is important. Bait change is important. Adding more scent to your bait. Whether it's I like to use the Byte on cloths as well. You're not necessarily using the spray. I like to use the cloths as well. There's many things you can do. You actually soak the bite on in a sponge, and you can put it in your bait cage. Again, to each to his own on that. I would say moving the nets around, trying different areas, and some nights it's just crawling. You know, you just have to say, hey, this is our night where we can just hang out, and you know, we're not working, we're putting the phone away, and we're just out here doing what we love.
Yep. Aaron says late winter is best. Crude slicks and bundle up plus warm coffee. Man, warm coffee, that sounds good to me. What do you think about lobster logs? We already got that question. How have you ever hooped around Imperial Beach? Either one of you two guys?
I have not.
All right. That was easy.
I have another one here.
Go ahead.
Is there a way to track the depth of lobsters based on the time of the season? Early season in shallow water, late season deep water? What do they want to know? Do you guys know if they're shallow to begin and then move deep and then come back shallow, or how does it typically work?
For me, I typically I start shallow during the beginning of the season and start to go deeper. Will, of course, can chime on this. He's going a lot deeper than I am, but I'm kind of going back and forth throughout the year. But I'm hooping 60 to 25, 25 to 60. I'm not doing anything too crazy.
Yeah, well, he's violating his own rule here, but you know, make sure that only one guy answered the question. Then he doesn't.
I'm trying to go through
Yeah.
everyone.
You know, we're gonna throw you out of here pretty soon. No, we're good. Go ahead.
Definitely, I hoop from 20 to 200 or 10 to 200, depending on time of season. Later in the season, I do hoop a lot deeper. And then, towards the very end of the season, sometimes I come shallower. It all depends. There's lobsters in all the places. You just got to move around.
All right, very good. Let's see. Aaron wants to know what sabiki rigs do you recommend for mackerel? You guys have those sabiki rods, right?
Right next to
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. There's
Yeah.
one right there. Yeah, I can
Yeah.
see it. There's the rigs, and then we have the rod right there. Promar has all of that for you at promarahi.com. Really great stuff. Go ahead.
I love the hook size 10s. Those for me, they work great. You know, I like a smaller sabiki rig myself. I use a smaller sabiki rig, so you just got to make sure to cut the last one off because it'll kind of hang over the top. So, because I'm on the kayak, so I want a shorter rod.
We got a lot of questions coming in through Instagram now. Sorry. So Jeremiah just has something to add in for the Imperial Beach question. He says the best spots are off of the pier and are both facing south about midsection of the pier and at the very end.
All right, Jeremiah, with the great tip there about fishing near the Imperial Beach Pier, right off the pier. Jeremiah, thank you so very much for contributing that info to the show. We really appreciate it. All right, let's go to Aaron. He's asking what the recommendation is for soaking a pot. You said like 20, 25 minutes.
Yeah, it's all different. For me, I do 20, 25 minutes, max 30, but I'm hooping shallower water. Will's hooping a little bit deeper water, so it's going to change the depth for sure.
45 minutes. First set's always an hour, then about 40.
Darren says Monterey is loaded with lobster, so we know they go that far to the north for sure. Carlos Sanchez, Carlos, buenas noches. What's up, fellas? Love the show. How many hoop nets are allowed on lobster trips? Will.
So if you're a single angler on a vessel, you're not allowed more than 5.
How about a married angler? Good reason.
Yeah, is she with you or not?
Yo, there you are. That's a good answer.
So 2 or more people on the boat, you have 10 max. And then if you're a single person on shore, like from a pier, 2 hoops.
All right, very good. It's Zimmerfish 1. I know it's a long run, but have you guys ever tried San Clemente Island or even the structure around Tanner and Cortez Bank?
Never.
No?
Catalina is the farthest I've gone.
I would never go there specifically for a lobster trip, but if you're out there fishing for other things, there's definitely lobster around.
I know there's tons of lobster on Cortez and Tanner and Clemente also, but like you say, you can usually get plenty of Catalina, right? No need to run that far. But as both Will and Gil say, man, if you're out there, man, you might as well give it a shot. Joaquin says we are all San Diego boys here. All right, sounds good to me. Have you hooped near international water? Brow Gray or whatever it is, Brow Gary wants to know.
Nope, never.
Yeah, you cannot hoop in Mexico, by the way. It's illegal in Mexican waters, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I know it is for the locals down there, so I'm sure it is. Greg Bates, let's see. We could zoom through some of these, actually. Central Coast beginner here. Robert, nice to have you with us, my friend. Joaquin said, I caught about 10 fish off the Sunset Cliffs this weekend, used my binoculars and saw about 100 floating bobbers from lobster traps seem to be commercial guys to me. Susan Sosa is here. Susan, great to have you with us, my friend. Hello, Phil. Those lobster I recently caught on the fresh frozen bonito were so sweet and tasty. How long do you grill? Looking forward to hooping with you. Me too, Susan. Here's the grill guy right here. You don't want to overcook anything out of the sea, do you?
So you could even undercook it a little bit, but you'll see that the meat start to turn white, and as it just turns white, you want to take it off the grill.
All right, Joaquin says, what do? I keep catching lobster on my line, but I can't catch them in a net.
You're in the right area.
Yeah, you're in the right zone, that's for sure, right?
Yeah, for sure.
They should crawl in there at some point in time. Is 30 minutes too quick to pull a lobster hoop net?
Nope.
No. These two guys, you're like 25 minutes, 45 to an hour. Sounds like you're right in the sweet spot there.
The rod.
Sometimes you may not be getting it in your net if your net is too light. Sometimes where you're at, depending on current or whatever the situation, you need a heavier net. So you can actually add weight to your Promar net, or you can get the XL heavies in that case.
All right, you have a question,
Yeah,
Brian?
so the rod IRL says, question here, how much does the water clarity affect hooping, affect the hooping? And like, should the water clarity affect the depth that you're going? So if you're hooping in really clear water, should you go in like super deep?
What was the
water?
guy's name again?
That's the rod IRL. He also asked something about the moon, full moon, versus like moonrise. He said he was able to get
Rod IRL wants
Yeah,
to know
okay.
about water clarity and moon.
Yeah, I think the bugs are there. You know, you want that clear water. The bugs like it, but I've done great in the dirty water, especially after a storm. But as far as the moon, we kind of hit on that at the beginning of the show. We actually hit the moon very well.
All right, very good. Let's see. We are here. Let me see if I can get through a couple of these. Are river mouths good for hooping? Like where you have some outflow, like maybe the Santa Ana, there's some spots where I know halibut fishing is down there good in Orange County in some areas.
Yeah, I would say if you line up along whatever structures on the edges there, it probably would be very good.
All right, very good. Does the night start out with busy catches and then slows down? Is that normal? Susan Sosa wants to know, does it start out really good normal, or is every night different?
You have that crawl, the first crawl, they crawl out, and of course they're going to kind of be in the nets at first, but then there are also times where like they take a minute to crawl. So it all depends on the time of day. It's like I was pulling nets last week and they didn't even start crawling until like 2.5 hours after sunset.
All right, Master wants to know, has anyone tried the Promar HD hoop net that has 45-degree spines, typically for crab, but seems like the added height would be tougher for the lobster to get out of?
Yeah, I think those hoop nets are great, up where they're doing Dungeness, dropping them for Dungeness crabs and things like that. Don't really need that for lobster here. I like the XLH just fine.
All right, Aaron says Promar Volcano style 45-degree hoops are best. Lobsters crawl with the good power. I'm starting to read like a moron, aren't I? Sound pretty bad. And harder for them to get out once they are in. Renee says, hey guys, hey Renee, we miss you tonight, man. It's good. We'll see you whenever it is. We're going to see you Thursday for sure over at Island Fishing Tackle, I'm hoping. Brian. Oh no, I thought you were. What the hell is that?
I was scratching my face.
Oh, he's scratching his head. Okay, I thought he was flashing gang signals. He's getting nervous. Like we're past 6:30, man. You die if you go any further. All right, very good. Let's get back into the fun here. If you find a trap on the beach after a storm, can you claim it? Gary wants to know. Hell yes, you can. I don't know.
So there's actually there's a soak time for 2 hours, and then after that net's considered abandoned. But you can actually take a net. This is like such a difficult question. Legally, no, that's that Coast Guard thing, or not Coast Guard, or Harbor Patrol thing. But if you have 5 nets, put it this way: if you have 5 nets and you're on a kayak or you're on a boat by yourself, and you decide to pull up a net or take a net, that gives you 6 nets. You're going to get a ticket.
All right, sounds good. You know what the craziest thing I found on the beach was once? I freaking looked out. There was kelp. It was almost like a kelp patty, but it was in the surf. And I looked like, what the hell is that? And I went out there. There was a bitchin' tuna rail rod with a $700 reel on it.
Wow.
So like a $1,500 rod and reel. I threw it up on Facebook for a little while, and then I ended up giving it to a guy that I knew
Wow.
could use it. So
That's crazy.
yeah, it was
You find- there's a lot of things I found fishing.
pretty crazy, huh?
Oh yeah.
Man, that's a whole other show.
Yeah.
That really is. All right, Lisa says, should you find a different sport if your bait is full of sea fleas, or just change the bait more often? Either one of you guys.
I think you're in a good spot if you're getting them. But yes, you will have to change your bait.
All right, good stuff. Hey, Phil, long time no see. This is awesome. Like and subscribe. Thank you so much, GHL2T. Aaron, great info. Thanks again, guys. He's really enjoying the show tonight. We've got the info on the lobster logs. We kind of already covered that. Chivo says, if you're on a pier, do you have to have a top buoy with a Go ID? Generally, you would just drop straight down and tie off to the pier.
Yeah, no Go ID is needed.
No?
The Go ID is used for a boot when if you're attending your net on a pier. So like if you drop 2 nets, you're in the premises of your net at all times. Floats are meant for when you're basically dropping a net and you're moving off and it's not being attended at all time, so the game wardens know who that lobster trap belongs to.
All right, very good. Yes, Brian.
Girl Got Bass says, if you're getting a lot of stingrays in your net, is it safe to assume you're in a sandy area, or do they kind of go
Girl got bashed. She's getting a bunch of stingrays in the nets. Is she in the wrong place?
No, not necessarily. So I definitely, especially in the harbor, I get stingrays in my nets all the time. But it's just because we're hooping, around sand and other things. But it could be on top of structure as well.
We are at 6:30, so should probably start doing the prizes.
Really?
Yeah.
What are we gonna do with all these extra questions here?
We're gonna have to skip them and save them for the next.
Oh, hey, folks, you know my policy. I answer all the questions, but I'm being
We gotta
overruled
We gotta
here.
get the guys home, dude.
6:30. So all of you guys who have asked a question, I apologize, we're not going to get to them. The participation tonight has been phenomenal. Everybody who asked a question, because we didn't respond to it, doesn't mean you're not in the drawing. In fact, one of you late folks in here might win one of these great prizes. So let's do this. How are we going to do this?
Yeah, so-
Anthony?
How many numbers?
All right, we got 52 people in the raffle. What is the first prize we're giving
We're
away?
gonna do the first. We'll do the sweaters first.
All right, so we're doing a
So it's gonna be, there's 2 winners. And
Yes.
There's gonna be, and each prize pack is a sweater and shirt. So there's gonna be 2 winners for that. So we'll have, you can each pick a number and then
Like a random number,
just a
Yeah.
random number.
Let me tell everybody 2. We're gonna give a sweater and a shirt.
like 6, 7.
Promar sweater and shirt. Will is showing it to you. I was going to model it, but we thought we'd go with the handsome guys here instead of the guy that scared the hell out of you. And so we're gonna give those away. These 2 gentlemen are gonna pick a random number. Anthony's gonna look and see what the number is, and then the dog is gonna tell us who won. Now you have to come back on here and say, "I'm here. Thank you so much." Blah 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 blah. And then once we see you, 1 minute to respond. So let's start with Will. Pick a number.
21.
21.
Bowline.
Bowline. Justin Bottrell, right?
Justin Bottrell.
Yeah.
Skip them.
Oh, all right.
Justin.
All right,
Sorry,
pick another
Justin.
one. We'll let you do another one. Sorry, Justin.
32.
32.
You picking jersey numbers?
All right.
Brow, Seagray,
So, my
62, 67. Brow, Seagray, 62, 67.
All right, I see him right here.
67, 67.
Brow, C. Gary,
Oh, see Gary.
you're probably 67, 67. You've just won a hoodie and a t-shirt. They're really, really nice, but you have 1 minute. Brian is timing it as we speak, and he's going to let me know when that 1 minute is up. So please, please, please respond so we can give that to you. We really, really want to do that. Guys, this has been a great show, man.
Yeah,
You
it's
guys
fun.
made it that way.
Yeah,
Let me
yeah.
tell you.
No,
It's
you
been
got-
a lot of fun. Yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah, got a lot.
We'll have to do this again in the very near future. Don't see him responding yet. Come on, dude. You've been on here all night long. We're running out of time. How much time we got? 30 seconds? 30 seconds.
Using the back.
Browse. Gary, 67. You win.